Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Good, those guys from Seaside. And good morning, Seaside. Wow. Most enthusiastic response. But that's okay, because this morning's message is about enthusiasm. It is one of the timeless truths. And it is truly one of those energetic expressions that transcends language, because as we're just caught up in this whole sound, the words are in a different language, yet there's a feel, there's a flair, there's a something going on. And enthusiasm is one of those words I just love. In theos, in God. What a wonderful feel, what a sense that word conjures up to absolutely be in the presence of God. I mean, enthusiasm is contagious. So spread it. Let it be an epidemic that's moving from you. What I've also noticed about enthusiasm is that the lack of it is also contagious. It can just kill a room. It can kill an environment when there is no enthusiasm going on there. Ralph Waldo Emerson, he said, nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is truly one of the keys in life, I believe. I feel it's a sense, it's a vibration that transforms an environment. I heard said that a salesperson without enthusiasm is just a clerk. It is something that is transformative. Vince Lombardi, great Super Bowl champion coach, the Super Bowl trophy named after him, he said that if you're not fired up with enthusiasm, you'll be fired with enthusiasm. Enthusiasm, Henry David Thoreau says that one without enthusiasm is how one ages. That's not quite how he said it. I'll get it right in the next service. But he was talking about that. You know, you don't grow old because of years. You grow old because you've lost your ideals. You've lost your passion. You've lost your enthusiasm. You have lost your zest. You know, times around the sun and years may put wrinkles on your skin, but it is the lack of enthusiasm that will put wrinkles on your soul. It's what begins to pull you down. It's what just takes the fun away from life. And so for you to be able to step out there and experience the fullness of life, it takes that willingness to take a look at your world and say, hey, you know what? What is working? What isn't working? Where am I getting charged? And where am I holding extra baggage? And this evening, Rosh Hashanah begins at sunset, and it is a wonderful high holiday in the Jewish tradition. It is a new year. It is a time, it's not a New Year's like we do it here on December 31st where it's wild parties, drinking, and it's nothing like that. Rosh Hashanah is about a time of reflection and looking back at the past year and taking a look, where is it that I need to maybe make some shifts, make some changes, and begin to put forward, what does this new year look like? What am I going to get excited about? How can I be enthusiastic about what lies before me? You know, it's the sounding of the shofar, the horn. It is the beginning of the new year. And what's interesting with the Jewish calendar is there's several new year starts, and which may seem strange because we think the new year starts on January 1st. But within within our calendar, we have a new school year, we have a fiscal year. And so Rosh Hashanah is a time where, you know what, it is time to start a new year, start moving forward in life and create in a way that makes a difference. When you're living from that place of joy, happiness, enthusiasm, it shows up in your life. No, it's not like, hey guys, I'm an enthusiastic person, don't you get it? It doesn't go like that. It's not like a conveying of words. It is a feeling, it is a life force, it is a zest that comes forth. And so often people say, well, you know what? My world, I've had a few stumbles in my life, in my world, in my experience, and I just may not be that hot spot for God to show up to transform the world like I used to feel. But I want us to get is it doesn't matter what you have done, what mistakes you have made, what faux pas, blunders, and challenges. You take a look at some of those characters from the Bible and realize their path was not the cleanest, or they weren't the perfect pick. You know, like Moses, who was appointed by God to go talk to the Pharaoh and tell him to free your people. Now, here's a guy who stutters. He would not be my first choice for a communication. But yet, he was tapped, and he did his thing. David, his armor was too big. We won't even talk about the affair he had also. But, you know, Solomon, he was too rich. Jesus, he was too poor. You've got Abraham, who was too old. David, who was too young. Lazarus, he was dead. Jonah ran from God, tried to hide. You got Thomas who doubted. You got John the Baptist who was just a loudmouth, you know. And yet these individuals were tapped by the presence of God. What I want you to get, or what I want you to understand, is it doesn't matter the mistakes. That this is a new year, a new day, where you say, okay, I am going to be that expression. I am going to spread enthusiasm. I'm going to spread that, you know what, there's a life force that is far greater than the challenges of this world. I am dealing with God. And with God, all things are possible. If you can't get turned on by that, I don't know what you can. I mean, well, there was this young woman by the name of Brenda who wanted to do mountain climbing. It's like it was a stretch. But she psyched herself up to kind of practice a little bit. And so with her friends one day, that day came to go mountain climbing for the very first time. And she looked at the stone wall and it seemed like it went straight up. And she had a great fear and trepidation, but she sucked it up. She listened to the enthusiasm, being God, and she started climbing. And she got up a few hundred feet to a ledge where she was able to take a rest. The guy who was taking care of the rope snapped or flung it, and it smacked her in the face, the eye, and it knocked out her contact lens. Here she is, a few hundred feet above the canyon floor, a few hundred feet below the top, and she's sitting there, just trying, and she finds she can't find it. Her only hope is it gets to the top, and maybe her buddies will be able to find it on the corner of her eye or clothes or something, and she eventually gets to the top, and to no travail that they could not find it. And she sits there looking out and saying, God, you've got eyes that can see from here to there. You know all these mountains and all the rocks and all the creatures. I know it's in your hands. Well, chose to walk down the trail on the backside as opposed to go back, rappelling down the mountain. And what's interesting is when she got to the bottom, there was another set of climbers going up. The lady that just began to go up the wall said, hey, did anybody lose a contact lens? But what the amazing part about all of this is the reason this woman noticed the contact lens is because an ant had picked up this little piece of whatever, was excited about it, and was carrying it across this rock face that caught this woman's attention, who picked this up and thought maybe another climber had just lost it. Now, that is an amazing expression of the presence of God. If you ever begin to doubt the power of that presence, and you got to remember there is no large or small, whether it is an ant that can return a contact lens in the middle of the mountains, or whatever it is. All things are possible with the presence of God, and what is essential is that you begin to believe and have that enthusiastic embrace. That Spirit is here. That Spirit can take care of this situation. I don't know how to heal sickness, but what I do know is Spirit does. And I showed up this week in the emergency room with somebody and prayed. They went in the next morning for an operation, and they fully intend to be here at the next service today. How does that work? It's with Spirit, all things are possible. I have been asked to pray in the middle of a labor dispute between unions by a union head to pray. And after months of negotiation, things came together. And then when the cycle went through and the years passed and the contract was up, I was the first to be called at the front end of the negotiations, which eventually worked themselves out. I assure you, I don't know how to resolve the conflict between labor and management. What I do know is with the presence of God, all things are possible. And that's what I can get enthusiastic about. It is not up to me to put the pieces together. It's up to me to know the presence of God is there in all the pieces. So it's with that same kind of knowingness and that same kind of faith that we hear these stories that Jamie shared from the Middle East, and because of the inflammatory video that went out this week and the violence that is over there, what I know is with God, all things are possible. And on to the 21st of this week, International Ceasefire Day, Peace Day, that somehow there is already established within the mind of God a ceasefire upon this planet, that peace does prevail. And that is not up to me to put the negotiations together, but it's up to me to know that the presence of God is there. And that is what you can do in your life and in your world. This is what you can do to help contribute to this emerging consciousness of greater good. It doesn't matter what you call the problem, how you name it or say it. What you get to do is hold the space the solution, and that comes about through your realization and connection with source. That's all you got to do is know that presence of God. What that presence does is that it shows up by fulfilling the need of the moment. That's how miracles happen. This life force shows up by fulfilling the need the moment. Moses, when he was leading the people out, said he was led cloud by day, pillar of fire at night. I can't imagine that he sat down and prayed, say, hey God, would you give me a cloud and a pillar of fire here? My belief is that what Moses was doing was having that God realization, and Spirit showed up by fulfilling the need. And it looked like a cloud, and it looked like a pillar of fire. Not because that's what he was asking for in prayer, but because he was moving to that place that was far greater than the conditions of the world. Spirit shows up. We are dealing with this multi-dimensional expression of life that is infinite. And so, Through the ages, people have prayed to that which they cannot see. And to think that there's only that which I can see is like limiting the bandwidth to just one station on the radio. There is so much more beyond this three-dimensional world in my five senses. And if I can begin to have faith and believe in that, then it can show up. Now, people have prayed to their saints, their divas, their angels, their gurus. And I believe, in the ancestors by all means. But what I do believe is that they do not provide anything that is not already within you. That they are like a catalyst that awakens a remembering of your soul, your spirit. And so I absolutely believe the ancestors that have gone on before, and if you want to just unite with that indigenous energy of ancestors, or the angelic one, or the grace of Mother Mary, or Lakshmi, or Ganesh for your prosperity, well-being, that has its place. But remember, all that it is doing is awakening that which is inside of you, because we are dealing with spirituality, and spirituality, in a sense, it is concentric. It's not hierarchical. You don't need to go to the hierarchy to begin to manifest your good. St. Augustine talked about God as being a circle whose center is everywhere in circumference, is nowhere. Right where you are, you're in that center of that God expression, and that life force is right where you are. All that is necessary it's right there, because you're in Theos, you're in spirit, you're in God, and I don't need anyone to deliver it. What I get to be is that vortex and that space through which that greater good emerges, and all that I need to do is not put the pieces together or put the disputes back together, but to go to that conscious connection and that realization of that God presence, and it unfolds itself in my life and in my world. I always got a kick out of the story of the rabbi and the cardinal who met each other and became good buddies at a religious conference. And the cardinal invited the rabbi to visit him at the Vatican, and he's looking around at the Vatican when he went to visit, and there's this beautiful golden phone sitting on the ornate altar. And the rabbi asked, "What's this for?" And the cardinal said, "Oh, that is a direct line to God. It's long distance, it costs $100, but you're welcome to use it." A few months later, the cardinal visited the rabbi over in Israel. And I was in one of the synagogue offices and just saw this plain phone sitting on the corner of the desk in the office. The cardinal said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, we too have a phone with a direct line to God." The cardinal said, "And how much does that cost?" He said, "Oh, it doesn't cost anything. It's free. We're closer." And what I really like us to get is, as you get closer to that presence, it doesn't cost you. Anybody who wants to charge you for your spirituality, I want you to know you don't need to pay for spirituality. I mean, there's truth and principles of circulation and living in the givingness of spirit, but you do not need to pay for your spiritual understanding. You do not need to pay for your spirituality. And it is as if somebody has it, and unless you give it, unless you pay them, or it's spirits everywhere, I guess is what I'm trying to get out of my mouth here. Someone went to the guru and said, "I'll give you an orange if you can tell me where God is." The guru says, "Well, I'll give you 2 oranges if you can tell me where God is not." Spirit is everywhere. If you can't get enthusiastic about that, then you don't need to get down on your knees in a church or a synagogue. You'll be walking along the beach and feel that good juice. Some teachers sitting on the side of a river selling bottles of water. Kind of like our plastic stuff I guess earlier. And the inferior teacher will say, "Here, what, you got to pay me for the water, and you got to keep coming back, and I'll keep you supplied, and I'll keep you in that flow." But the superior teacher will say, "You know what, follow me down to the water's edge. I will show you where you can replenish the water yourself." This is exciting news. The spiritual life that can heal your body. put management and labor back together, that can heal relationships, that can bring the magic and the wonder into your world and fulfill the need of your moment, is right where you are. There is no large or small. There was this small congregation in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains, and someone had bequested a piece of property to them, and they did everything they could to raise the money. They built the building. They pretty much maximized the space. Building inspector came in 10 days before they were going to have their grand opening, their celebration, their building dedication. Says, you know what, I can't allow you to move forward. You have inadequate parking. Sounds like Encinitas. And you've got to double your parking space. And the minister said, that's what we can do. We have maximized the build out. That's as much parking. That mountain in the middle of our parking lot, we can't move that. And the building supervisor said, well, you cannot open until you have sufficient parking. So that minister that Sunday night said, hey, anybody who's part of this congregation and you have mountain moving faith, you can come to a prayer meeting. And so they gathered that night and they prayed for 3 hours. And at 10 o'clock, the minister finally said, so it is. Or he probably said, amen. Amen. Whatever. And what was interesting is the next morning he's sitting in his office and he hears, he said, come in. And standing at this door is this big, burly, dirty construction worker, takes his hard hat off, holds it to his chest, and says, Reverend, we're in a bit of a bind. We are building a shopping center right in the next town over, and we need some filter. We were wondering if we could buy that dirt that your parking lot backs up to, and we will move it, we will pay you for it. When we're done, we will pave it out and paint the stripes in there, but we need it right away so where the dirt can settle before we can move forward. And the minister went ahead and opened up the following Sunday on time. Whoa, right. I want you to know with Spirit all things are possible. If you can't get excited about that, you can't get passionate about that, you can't get enthusiastic about it, it can move mountains, it can put broken hearts back together, it can expand bank accounts, it can do all things when you realize I don't need to go somewhere to connect with Spirit, that right where I am is the center of it, but I can't use God. So often people are talking about prayers, God, do this, do that, and we try to use God. What happens is we begin to use our mind and our own willpower to move things, which works for a little while, but you only have so much of your own life force and energy. But if you allow Spirit to use you, if you allow God to use you, if you allow yourself to be in Theos, to be in that presence, to be used by that presence of God, it will fulfill the needs of the moment of the life that you're living. Without realizing there is large mountains to move or little contact lenses to find. There is no large or small because it is all Spirit. How do you feel about that? Yeah. All right. Hey, let's keep going.
Thank you, Reverend Christian. Okay. Yeah, the guy gets excited, doesn't he? My goodness. It's a good day, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, you got to repeat after me again. With your strength, good, with your peace, in your loving grace, I release, with my faith and my belief. Heal me, heal me, heal me, all that I am, all that I hope I will be, all I become, all that lives within me, all there is, all there ever will be, all the love, all the love, all the love, all the love. Bye. All that I am, all that lives within me, all I become, all there is, all there is, all there ever will be, all the love, Tyree, all the love, Tyree, 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 Tyree, to inspire, all Tyree, Tyree. Raise my heart, oh Tyree, Tyree, to raise my heart, oh Tyree, to raise my heart.
Well, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to unite together in our givingness, to share our offering, and to know that together we are able to create this spiritual home. Together we are able to sustain it, and to be able to create holy ground on which we stand and share these principles that are near and dear to our heart. And as you share and as you give, it comes back. It's not because you have to, but that is the way in which the spiritual principles work, is that it flows through you at the level of your activity in life. And so I invite you to look within your heart and your soul and be in that place in which Spirit moves and blesses. For your world has been blessed. And are you willing to share that blessing out into life? With enthusiasm, not because this is the time I got to do it, but with enthusiasm, like it's true, I'm making a difference. You do make a difference here in the spiritual community. And so I'd like to invite our ushers to come forward at this time. I want to say thank you to this wonderful crew, and thank you to those who mail in your contributions when you cannot be here on a Sunday, and those that remember us with the auto tithe, that regular systematic support from your world to the activities here. And Marv, you know that prosperity affirmation we have in the Sunday program this week? Let's put that up there and read this together as our prayer today. And where it says your name, you have this to take home to work on every day, but let's put Seaside's name there together and share this together. And it says, I, Seaside, know that God is the source of all supply and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here and now, and I am so rich and so full that I have an abundance of money to spare and to share today and always. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. And these words which I speak in faith now activate universal law, and I accept the results, and I bless all that I have now, and I bless the increase, and I know that I now prosper in every way, and I give thanks for this good, and so it is. Amen. Great job. Speaking of great job, Carl Anthony, fabulous. As always. Nice. Thank you. Good man. Reverend Fran, thank you for leading us in song. Dr. Christina, always a joy to share Sunday mornings with you. Giving us sound in the back is Ed. Giving us the visual is Marv. Nice job. Doing the live streaming is Tim. Nice job, Tim. And I see you starting to put it up on the screen a little bit. Back room, front room. This is good. We're expanding our technological needs, for sure. Expression. So, hey, it's a joy to share Sunday mornings with you. I just get so jazzed. Obviously, enthusiasm is what I do, and I love what's going on here in the classes. I have begun. I'd love for you to come be part of the class on Tuesday nights. Talk to Reverend Catherine, who will be back at the sign-ups. We'd love to have you on a Tuesday night, or Catherine on a Tuesday night, or Thursday night, Monday nights. We got classes all the time, and truly Seaside is a blessed place. Our children, how are they today? Anybody want to say anything? Yeah. Anything else? You want to say that to the microphone? Okay. Well, next time we can do that. Let's see, fun things going on. Janet Atwater is doing Awakening the Healer Within. She's the one who created the Passion Test. That's down in San Diego this week. Friend of Seaside, the flyers out there. You're welcome to take a look at what she's up to. Men's Breakfast Club is Saturday. There's a lot of things going on, but what I want to do right now is pray. Healing has been the thrust of our movement since its beginning. And so I invite you to step into this wonderful place with me. For in Theos, in God, feel, and in that presence, right where I am is the center. And God centers everywhere. The fullness of this life, this dynamic expression. And what I come to do is unite with that. I feel that. I resonate with this life force and know that it is from this kind of connection and realization that all discord and dis-ease begins to dissolve back into the nothingness from which it came. For as we walk through this world, our humanness attracts the dynamics of doing this thing called life. What I want you to know, that which is within you is greater than that which is what's in this world. For that power and that presence that dwells in you perfects that which concerns you. For truly the wonder of God moves in the smallness to make the crooked way straight, the challenges dissolve. For I know right now that the blessings that each of us desires, that need is fulfilled in this moment. For taking the time out in the busyness of the day and the week to reconnect with that life force, to step into that place that is beyond words but is yet so real that there's a vibration that is contagious, an epidemic of good and joy and life moves forth from each of us here, who adds to this planetary consciousness that brings about the peace, the love, and the caring and compassion. For I know every prayer in our prayer request chest is answered, and that the divine unfolds its expression as our very experience now. For this I am grateful. I let go, I trust, I believe in the divine right action, the spirit of life and souls.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I did not know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, trying to make it through just one more day, you got to let it go. Let it and this is what we have to say. Come on! I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. You know there's no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. You know, now release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. There's no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. This is how y'all take one. Yes, I only live. Oh, God.
All right. Hey, before affirmation, I see our Youth and Family Ministry Director, Debbie McDonald. It is her birthday today, and the flowers are thank you to everyone for happy birthday. Debbie. Thank you for sharing us. Happy birthday and flowers. And together, let us say, I'm enthusiastic about my life. Together. I am enthusiastic about my life. Again. I am enthusiastic about my life. One more time. I am enthusiastic about my life. And their song is
Living in love, living in peace. I'm living my life for what I believe. Through joys and through fears, in this world I walk. God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. 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 Amen. Amen.
I've been out of town running around. I'm going into the hospital tomorrow for my pacemaker, so.
We'll hold you in prayer. We'll know. Wait for your camera. Yeah. Try to get the way up.